Yay! We're streaming. Hey everybody, it's me, JJ, from Bright Idea Records, from brightidearecords.com. It's just, um, am I out of focus? I'm a little out of focus. No, that didn't help. Guess that's pretty good. Is that better? No. Life is a trial and error process, is it not? Um, I hope you all had a safe and fun Independence Day if you live in the United States of America and celebrate that type of thing in your neighborhood with your family and your friends. Or if you're just not, well, then forget I said anything because it's really just another one of those silly national holidays that only apply to the. It's like I'm not going to go and celebrate Mexico's Independence Day. I heard that's a thing, right? You know, like that's their thing to celebrate, not mine. But or wait, is that what Cinco de Mayo is? That's not Independence Day for Mexico. Nah, I hope not, because if that is, then I'm totally lying to you, because I do celebrate Cinco de Mayo. I think everybody does. But wasn't that long ago, man. Sometimes you drink Tecate, sometimes you drink Corona, other times you drink the Modelo, other times, ay Chihuahua, you drinking the tequila. However you celebrate the Cinco de Mayo, whatever. I'm getting so off topic. I'm just trying to say hi, make an opening, a greeting, make myself seem approachable. As if. Yeah, right. Make myself seem more endearing? Maybe almost like the host of some kind of a program, like a talk show. Yeah, right. I'm sorry. That does sound really stupid when I say it out loud. I'm kind of made this way though. I'm kind of programmed to be that way. Like some kind of a show hoster, some kind of fool like that. I know, right? Like what kind of show is this, JJ? You don't have any guests. You don't have like any crew? Any like camera people? You know what I do have? A charming disposition sometimes. A keen wit and the ability to sense what's clever, at least to myself, which I'm probably not that weird. My sense of humor, my the things I notice, probably not. There's probably lots of people like me because like since like the internet's become such a big, like everybody has it on their smartphones. Like a lot of things that used to be kind of weird, fringy behavior of mine, this has kind of become the norm, the standard. So that's kind of neat, I guess. I mean, I never wanted to be a weirdo. I never wanted to be a unique individual. It just kind of kept ending up that way. And it's like you just sort of either take pride and have self-respect, or you start to hate your uniqueness because the world isn't designed for unique people. It's designed for the majority. And the majority, well, they're pretty normal. They're not exactly different. That's for sure. Light. Anybody got a light? I gotta get a light up here. I was taking a break from working on this little thing. Basically, I'm putting my mouse back together. I was gonna show you probably last week. I don't know if you recall the stream, or the all day stream where I like remember. Hey man, that lasagna, that's good shit. Lasagna, yeah, that day. Well, I think by the end of that day, I was like wanting to fix the scroll wheel on my mouse. Here, I gotta be careful. Because that's kind of why I'm doing this. It's only like fucking 4 in the morning. But I woke up at like midnight or something. I basically slept through the party. Eh, not my first time. This ain't my first rodeo. And I just wanted to show you the clever way, to start the program. At the very least, I should finish what I started and include you, because I initially did, right? It'd be rude of me not to. So, let's take a deeper dive. Why not? We got it right here. So this is my favorite mouse. Let's see. What can I tell you about it? I got it at Big Lots, which is a franchise store that specializes in discount quality merchandise. I should probably point the microphone in my direction, huh? That might help. As I was saying, I acquired this from Big Lots, which is, yes, a franchise that specializes in quality merchandise available at a discounted price because of the bulk manner in which they acquire their liquidated and clearance goods. Or maybe the goods they acquire aren't even all that like closeout. Maybe it's just like an arrangement that they have worked out with the manufacturer to get loads and loads. It's kind of like a Walmart scenario, but rather than trying to present themselves like a regular store like Walmart does, they basically present themselves as like, if you're poor and you're tired of the dollar store. No, I'm just kidding. It's not just poor people either. There's very respectable members of the foothills community that shop at the Big Lots near me. They're very well-to-do Sabino Canyon, like Tanque Verde kind of like foothills people. Very respectable. So, anyways, I saw this available. This is what you would call a gamer mouse, if you can believe that. It's made by the Monster Company. I don't know if that's like the same Monster that makes Monster guitar cables, but if it is, it's no wonder I love it, because it's like, I love Monster guitar cables too. So, if it is the same Monster, that's pretty badass. If it's a different Monster, so be it. I'm going to stop saying the word because it's kind of making me want to go get a Monster energy drink, and I really don't have the energy to leave the house. It's kind of a catch-22 scenario, the whole energy thing. Energy crisis. Anyways, so what I ended up doing... Fuck, and I could use a beverage really badly. Alright, so what happened? Basically, I've been customizing this thing like the way most people would customize a race car, like a sometimes referred to as a stock car, I guess, like a NASCAR. I think NASCAR and stock car means the same thing, I think. Basically, I've been taking out the guts, piece by piece, trying to streamline this into something that I can use, because although it has a very comfortable, ergonomically hand-shaped design, I mean, look at those curves, man. Look at the aerodynamic curves. It's very comfortable. I can use this thing for hours, and sometimes do. But yeah, man, it had a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't need. Like right here, there's a hole that you can see the LED through, the color changing LED. I love that too. See the way it just went from blue to green? That's one LED. That's not like an array of LEDs. There's this one little colorful guy in there that totally rocks. I'd like to get some more of those and deck out all my shit with it. But anyways, yeah, this original hole used to be a DPI, dots per inch button. Like you could cycle through various sensitivity levels for your mouse cursor. You know what I'm talking about? I'm sure you do. You see, normally I would control that in like a control panel, like the mouse control settings. But I guess having it available at a button's push helps when you're playing a game. If you're one of those gamers that uses a mouse and a keyboard to play. I'm more of a controller guy, so I really don't need this. And I was accidentally hitting it, and it was making my mouse act weird. I'd be like, "What happened? Why am I in this handbasket? Ah!" And it's like, "Oh, I must have accidentally hit the DPI button again." FML, right? Yeah, did away with that. What else did I do away with? Oh, I don't know. This used to be a button. I just recently got rid of that one. That was another one that I was accidentally clicking all the time. I'm still not even sure what it did. All I know is it fucked me up. I'd be in the middle of something, and I'd accidentally tap that, and I was completely out of control. It would do something weird, and I still to this day don't know exactly. And yeah, that weird thing would basically send me on a downward spiral in a handbasket to hell. And that was not fun. There also used to be a fucking thing that my thumb was always accidentally hitting. That gaping hole. Did away with that. So now there's 3 buttons, the DPI and those 2, that I never have to worry about accidentally motherfucking myself with, so to speak. But also, there used to be a metal weight bolted into place right there, and I can tell that this weight, the only reason why it was in there was to give this thing some extra heft, so it feels like something solid. Because if you're using a keyboard or a mouse and it doesn't, if it's light as a feather, I guess some people don't like that. They're turned off by it because of the nature of reality and physics and gravity and all that crap. Which I can appreciate ergonomics because I'm kind of old school. I kind of like keeping an old school hefty. This thing is hefty as fuck. And the buttons, they have such a satisfying click. I can understand being particular and finicky about ergonomics and crap like that. I can respect and I understand that we're all different and have our tastes and preferences and likes. And even sometimes we get stuck in a rut where we think we like something, but there's actually a newer, better thing that we didn't know about, and we have to either decide to be stubborn and stick with our old ways, old preferences, or try something new that's better. And to be quite frank, I don't need a hefty mouse. I really like having a very light, easy to maneuver. I'm basically lacking in muscle tone these days. I used to have some pretty good muscle. Like, I used to have some definition. You can still see the curve, but I'm not gonna front, man. I'm not like a bodybuilder over here. I'm not trying to have a hefty mouse. I like the keyboard being hefty because it's sitting on my lap, and it's almost like a safety belt, or maybe like a bar up for a roller coaster. It's like a safety bar holding me in place, ensuring I never get off the couch, and I just like keep typing on the keyboard until the day I die. That's kind of what I'm after in a keyboard. Lightweight, nah, that's far too. I can just get up frivolously whenever I want. I need something to keep me seated. I think I got a touch of the ADD, so it keeps me focused having a heavy keyboard. Yeah, I did away with the weight, those 3 buttons, and I thought I had the perfect configuration going on. I really, really was very pleased, but unfortunately, yeah, it was unfortunate. The wheel, the scroll wheel, that is one of those newfangled inventions that I actually rely upon, as opposed to like just another confusing new feature that confounds and angers this old man that is set in his ways. Like, I'm not gonna front. I started with a Macintosh mouse, which literally only has 1 button. I'm pretty sure still to this day, most name brand proprietary Apple mice, I think, are still 1 button based in nature. And if you're a Mac user, you're just supposed to know All right, you're basically just supposed to know to do a control click, right? You go to your keyboard, you hold control, and you use your one button to like make a right click happen. That's the way that works. Yeah, I didn't know that at first, but I actually at first I used to get frustrated at my inability to right click, and I'd end up hooking up a PC mouse to the Mac. And then I learned about the control click, and I loosened up a little bit and went back to Apple mice. And now I don't even have an Apple at the moment, so that kind of sucks. Life, man, it throws all kinds of shit at you, all kinds of different scenarios and situations. The situation and scenario that I've had to deal with is fixing my broken scroll wheel. That's what the last stream was going to be all about when I was talking about this thingamabob right here. And what was I going to do to make it work? I didn't have a very good plan. It was broken. Like this piece, I don't know how well you can see this. I'm just going to unplug my mouse because I know the light can be very distracting. I know. So you see this piece, can I focus at all? No, wrong way. That's pretty good, I guess. All right, so you see, if you've never taken apart your computer mouse, there's not a whole lot to it. There's this thing right here, and that lovely little wheel. Let's see. Yeah, there we go, right here. That thing. That's basically a hole. It's a hole. It's a hole. It's totally a hole. You know? That's that black thing in the middle of this post. That's a hole, and inside that hole you can like have a peg that's attached to the wheel, and so when you turn the wheel, it turns the wheel inside that, and that's how the scroll wheel works. It's really simple, right? I mean, I'm not going to talk about like the circuit board and how the signal goes from that, and how if you have a multimeter you can test the connections by touching the board and seeing no. I'm just talking about the mechanics of the whole thing right now, because that's what I was queried. That's what fate had thrown at me. I had to ask myself, fuck, what do we do now? I basically came up with 3 solutions. The first 2 were not that good. Not that impressive. I mean, they were good ideas, but in actuality, implementing them was more difficult than I could. It was too tough. I couldn't pull off my own designs. And it makes sense. My first idea was just to take the broken peg and super glue it back on. Yeah, guess what? When I was in the middle of trying to do that, I basically lost the peg. I got butterfingers. I got shaky hands. Sometimes it's post-traumatic stress. Sometimes it's medication withdrawal. Other times it's, too much medication. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. I'm not a neurologist. I don't know. But yeah, between that and my hand surgeries, I tend to have butterfingers. Go figure. And of course, I was not sitting at a workbench like I should have been. So I dropped the peg. It fell. It bounced. God only knows where it is now. It's somewhere around here. I'm not gonna look for it. Fuck it. It wasn't that good of an idea anyways, because I was thinking I'd super glue it. But that's not a good way to super glue anything. Like when you got a flat thing super glued to a flat thing, even if you scuff it up a little bit, like as if it was like a bicycle inner tube that you're trying to patch a hole on. The instructions will indicate that you're supposed to kind of sandpaper or scuff up the tube, to make it tacky and make the glue, like, just to make the bond take hold. So there's enough, like, rough edges and crap. Because a completely smooth surface is never going to take to a situation like, super glue or whatever. Because it's too smooth. It'll just, like, break away. You've got to have a rough surface in order to make all the little ridges and edges. It's like the difference between a Ruffles potato chip and just a regular potato chip, like a Lay's or a Kettle Cook. It's like, the Ruffles got ridges, man. And like if you were to stack Ruffles like Pringles, they wouldn't move because they've got these interlinking. You get the picture. It's not that complicated. So my first idea sucked. My next idea was to sorry, bear with me here. I just like having visual aids to better tell the scenario, because this is fun. Being a MacGyver motherfucker, being some kind of a wannabe engineer. It's fun, man. Like, and it's funny, especially when you're like when you're childlike and your engineering skills are kind of like basically laughable, you know. Like if I was like Geordie LaForge on Star Trek, like, or maybe like engineer Chief O'Brien, if I was like one of those motherfuckers, that's like fear the mad skills of these badass engineers, right? Me, I'm like MacGyver's little brother that's like addicted to drugs and like a prostitute. Like that's basically what I mean. In theory, that's like my skill level. Like what you could, if you were to pick up a male prostitute that was addicted to drugs, and they had MacGyver for an older brother, they might be better than me, actually. Like, they might have more skill, because having a big brother like that, you'd probably learn a lot of things, right? All right. Where was I? I was trying to find the screwdriver that I used. I guess I'll provide the visual aid with a different one. Where the fuck did it go? No, not this one. No. No. Had it just a second ago. I know I did. Alright, you know what? This thing is gigantic, but I guess it'll have to do. Okay. So my next idea for fixing the scroll wheel looked something like, we were just talking about the super glue and the flat surfaces, how that's never a good idea because it's just the bond will never really take that solid of a hold. Excuse me, I said hole because I'm about to talk about making a joint, like maybe a ball and socket. Or actually, an even better idea would be like a slot. Some kind of a slottable joint type of scenario where you've got like some kind of a flat hole where you can like, stick a connector and like, yeah, now you're thinking, JJ. Forget trying to repair the fucking thing. Let's mod it and make it a little more stable, a little more flexible. Because that was the shitty thing about the scroll wheel scenario before, was when this was all molded together in one, wheel, one piece, it wasn't very flexible. It's no wonder that it broke. Like, the thing is hard plastic, so the fact that it snapped off, I probably dropped it, or maybe I pushed the button on the scroll, because, the scroll wheel counts as a click. More on that in a second. But, yeah, I probably pressed too hard and it just snapped, and the next thing you know, I'm like, why doesn't my scroll wheel work? Do I need a new driver? And so, yeah, I'm thinking a slot mechanism will actually hold. The reason why the scroll wheel counts as a mouse click, in case you've ever wondered, okay, is because there's a little button right about there. So when you press on the scroll wheel, this big honking inner wheel clicks down upon that. See that cylindrical black thing that is part of a square button hookup Yeah, that's the button that gets clicked when you do that trick. So, fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm trying to make a better design, but I'm still stuck in my prehistoric thinking. I'm still wanting something at least halfway stable to turn the wheel, you know? So I'm thinking in terms of these plastic toothpicks that I've had sitting around for years. You know, I normally use dental floss like a responsible tooth owner. But, you know, these little toothpicks, they are pretty good. I mean, like, they're solid, they're plastic, they're tapered. You know, the tapering would really come in handy with regards to a slot mechanism. I mean, because, hey, you know, that's probably going to be a narrow slot that you're working with. But, so I got this going, and I was, you know, sort of like trying to fabricate parts. You know, I know that's a pretty popular topic these days with the super glue and the cigarette ashes. I'm on top of it. I'm MacGyver's little prostitute drug addict brother over here. All right, so yeah, the Richard Dean Anderson MacGyver, that one. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I kind of like fabricated. I got down to this little nubby thing, you know, after a bunch of like, you know, filing, fucking, like, I think at one point I busted out my torch, you know, and I was like, fucking flat out, fucking getting my pliers and heating them up, and then like, you know what I'm talking about, you know, get these nice and toasty, and then kind of like trying to like freaking melt it down a little, you know, just fabricating, you know, man shit. Yeah, right. It feels pretty manly to do this kind of work, actually. But to be quite honest, my father, who is probably the manliest person I'd ever met, was really not an expert at this kind of thing. He was more of like a songwriter, a thinker, a musician, a newspaper reader, a marijuana cannabis smoker, a freaking ex drunk, a recovering alcoholic, a survivor of near-death injuries, an opioid addict. Really, you know, just like he was a fist fighter. He was yeah, pretty manly dude. But, you know, when it came to working on a car or like fixing a shelf, that was more something my mother would be doing. She was kind of like the Bob Vila in that household. So even though it makes me feel super manly to do this kind of shit, it's really nothing special. I'm just like, it's probably because I grew up watching Tool Time, you know, with fuck, what was Tim Allen's character's name? You had Al Borland and Tim something. Oh well. Anyways, you could tell that's like a lazy actor's way to stay in character when their first name of their character is the same as their first name in real life. They're basically always ready to respond. They never have to stop and think and remember, "Oh wait, that's my character's name." They're like always in character because their first names are exactly the same. That's a neat trick. Anyways, what else? Yeah, this really didn't work. You know, I worked my ass off to try and make it big enough to fit in the slot, and I couldn't do that. It was just like too much trouble to get the thing to fit in the slot. So let me put this away, and I'll show you how I made the slot on this wheel here. Here we go. Okay, so this right here, put my pliers away. This right here is a mouse wheel that's in slightly better condition, but still pretty bad condition. Because you see the little nubby thing there that goes inside the scroll wheel? Um, this one still has one. It hasn't broken off completely, but that little nub right there is barely enough. Like, it's really not an ideal scenario. It's almost likely that it will fall out of the wheel, rendering the scroll wheel useless once again, which that would be tragic. That's we're trying to avoid the tragedy here. So, but this is good for a demonstration because I don't have to actually take my mouse apart now that it's all fixed. So, this is the part of the scroll wheel that clicks the button. This is the right side that you would right click with, and this is the left side that goes into the scroll wheel mechanism. And basically, let's pretend, we don't have to pretend, because I can already tell that this technique I invented is so good. This little leftover nubby thing is actually worthless, more trouble than it's worth, and doesn't even provide any utility in a discussion about it whatsoever. So now that we got rid of that annoying little nub that was on there, now I can better show you how I came up with this next, third, and final plan, which is basically I took a nice flat end screwdriver like that, okay? But I've got this other one that's like even better because it's like smaller and for more electronic type. It's like video game shit basically. A special little, knife. It's almost like a little blade. It's made for taking apart handheld like Game Boys and crap. Basically, or maybe hard drive enclosures, something like that. So I took El Torcho Grande and a slightly smaller screwdriver, and I basically held this. I told you I'm a shaky son of a bitch, right? Nothing against my mother. It's a figure of speech. It's not. My mother's pretty nice, So, but I am a son of a bitch, and I fucked up dropping the peg on my first initial idea. So luckily, I got these gigantic hemostats that I tend to bust out for situations like this when I need maximum stability mixed with a certain level of maneuverability. So we must be maneuverable and sturdy with regards to the focus of attention. And that's exactly what this provided. And so naturally, when I got the tip of this thing super red hot, when it started to glow red, I put my elbow on something secure, like a flat surface, and I basically lined these up perfectly. See, I can't even maintain it now. I have no coordination. I'm shaky. I probably look like I have Parkinson's disease. Like, I literally just need to... Here, let's hold this. I'm just going to go like that. Do you see how sturdy I have to get? Like, both elbows are braced. Both wrists are straight. And now I can just barely maintain that. But anyways, this is an oversized screwdriver. And not really good. I'm just basically trying to give you this scenario on how I made the perfect slot, which is with a slightly smaller screwdriver, getting it hot and melting that groove. And that's what I did for the toothpick, so I had already done that for the second design that was a failure. But now it was time to be a success story. I'd been at this for a while. I was tired of it. I wanted to just be done with the goddamn project already. This isn't fun. This is just stupid. Like, I'm totally through. So how do I finish this with some semblance of success and dignity and accomplishment and have a nice happy story to tell on my stream? Well, I got myself a zip tie. It's a nice little chunk of plastic. As you can see, this zip tie, it has no tapered end. I wonder why that is. See, this one, this cute little green zip tie, it has this tapered end. It's real skinny. Like, this part is kind of chunky because it has all these, the zip tie lines, the lines that make it possible for it to interlink with, like, the tooth that's contained inside there. That thing in the middle, that's a tooth that locks into those lines. Yeah. And so, henceforth, I snipped off the end of this. I think I used, I think I was going to use these wire cutters. But no, I'm like, no, I like these ones better. So I ended up using those and snipped it off nice and perfect. So then I got like a little freaking skinny little, just perfect. It's like stable. It's like stiff. It has like resistance. It's a very sturdy little piece of plastic considering how super thin it is. Like it's paper thin and yet it's super sturdy and naturally perfect for this kind of thing because it fits into the mouse hole perfectly. I figured that out quickly, and it also fits. Like this is the part, the end. This is the most tapered part of it, and it's rounded on the edges. That's the one that went into my newly made melted mouse hole, and then I just kind of cut that to spec, you know, to go into the mouse scroll wheel hole. And now you can obviously just take a look and see how ideal. Look at that. That's my little twisty tie end. Yeah, rotating it. I'm so proud of myself. So proud of myself, you guys. I'm like Bob Vila, but instead of working on houses, I'm like MacGyver, but instead of like saving the world, I'm basically just like jjstyles0001 and his stream, the jjstyles0001 stream, here on twitch.tv, your home for video game stuff and pretty cool, video maker type things. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. Oops. I gotta try to keep the cable. See, with this mouse cable, it kept being a problem, right? So I zip tied that, rolled it up nice and tight, so that way it would stop being a problem. But now that it's unraveled, because I was using it on the I was using the mouse with the computer, making sure I was really, really, really done, and that I could just like move on with my fucking life already. Yeah, man. There we go. Nice. All the little plastic parts are linked together. Let's reassemble it, and just see how wonderful my little race car, stock car, monster of a mouse. I took a mouse that basically was a monster, and I guess it's still monstrous when it's in my hands. That's for sure. But no, it's basically like I took a lion and turned it into a kitten. Because all these buttons that were getting in my way, they're gone. It's really no concern of mine. You know? I think the 2 buttons and the scroll wheel, that's pretty ideal for me. I'm an old man! I can't learn what these new buttons do. The only reason I could figure out what the dots per inch button was because it literally had DPI printed on the button. Like, there's tiny little letters, DPI, capital letters. And I'm like, gee, could that be dots per inch? That seems like the way that an optical mouse would operate. It seems likely, doesn't it? I would think so. And yeah, the other 2, they didn't have writing. So I didn't know what the fuck they did. It's pretty silly. The thing might have come with a manual. I don't think it did, though. I can't remember. I think that you're just supposed to know what these buttons do. And if you don't, well, then you're not a real gamer. I don't know. I'm a real gamer. I'm just kind of old school. Like, shit, man. I could probably look it up on the internet what those buttons do. But I'd still accidentally be clicking them all the time. Which wouldn't be fun. Like, it's like, I got pretty good hand-eye coordination. I'm a musician, I'm a gamer, but I type pretty fast too because I'm a programmer. But give me a break, man. I've had a lot of hand surgeries because of, tendons and weird fucking human. I'm a human, and humans have problems. And, we do our best to get them fixed. And yeah, I'm pretty fixed, but still, man. I'm gonna accidentally click buttons that are right there. I'm not a newborn child that's never had any neurological damage. I'm basically used goods, and that's what I'm stuck being. Because I can't get a sex change. I don't really want a sex change. What I want is a new nervous system, but and maybe not even an entire system. Maybe just certain aspects of my damaged areas. I need a pain pill. My neck hurts. I'd like to just have my neural injuries fixed. But, whatever, man. I'm not one to bitch too much. I'm pretty happy with what I got. I've always been kind of like, what? Not that privileged? Kind of grew up a poor kid. I'm kind of used to having to MacGyver my way through life. So, like, I guess that's pretty. Yeah, I kind of need to shave. I know. I'll get around to it probably today. It's still early for me, okay? I know I'd probably look like George Michael right now. But hey, they did just release a Wham movie yesterday, so I guess I just have faith? No. No, that's a lie. I have faith in nothing except for myself. But like I was saying, I'm used to having to make do. This is fan fucking tastic. I gotta open up a PDF and see just how fantastic the scroll wheel works, though. Because that's really where the scroll wheel comes in handy, is when you're like reading documents, sometimes of a technical nature, and like you need to go to the next page, etc. And like you don't really want to think about your body too much, like having to like get the cursor on a fucking on the bar, the scroll bar with the arrows on the top of it. Having to do that just to see the next page is practically enough to give me a headache when I'm like reading a technical document and I'm deep in thought to the point where I don't even notice my physical body, and like if I'm sweating, if I'm hungry, if I need a cigarette or a pain pill. I don't care. I'm too busy reading this highly technical information regarding God only knows what, right? So fuck that. I need my scroll wheel because that's literally thoughtless. I can just go like that. I'm not even looking and I'm making it scroll. So it's really, really a handy thing. Nice enhancement that didn't exist when I first started using a mouse. Nice little enhancement that they made. Didn't even happen that long ago. Like computer mice, they're what, 50 years old, 60 years? I don't fucking know, man. They weren't new when I started using them, but they sure as fuck didn't have scroll wheels yet. There's still a lot, there's still a lot of innovation that, like, some motherfucking sons of bitches might be thinking of doing. Like, there's still a lot of tricking. You can trick out your shit. Like, this mouse was basically a pre-tricked out gamer mouse. And I've slimmed it down from tricked out to nice bare bones. So it's still got the quality shell. It's like, that's what professionals do. If you're a professional race car driver and you gotta... I keep going back to that analogy because that's probably the most common, gutting out of an object or whatever, Like, you're more than likely gutting out a very expensive thing and making it less functional for anything. You're probably doing that because you're a race car driver that wants to win the race, right? Okay, I think I'll just open up this document right here. I'll put it up on the screen so that way we can both share in the glory of my success. I'm just so excited. I've missed this. It's like a girl that gives up the butt, and you're like, oh man, I haven't had anal in for it. No, no, it's more like a chick that gives head, and you're like, oh damn, my last two girlfriends have been prudes. You're actually gonna suck it? Oh, fuck yeah. It's like, I got my scroll wheel back. It doesn't make me hard, but it still gets me pretty excited, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, let's add... You probably have no idea what I'm saying. You're probably just thinking about sex now, right? Yeah, that figures. You people have no ability when it comes to focus and controlling it. I should teach you. Except I'm not a monk. You're better off learning from a monk. But, I'm going to switch to this lovely little piece of reading that it's kind of a piece of material that I go to a lot. Don't ask me why. I should probably have this fucking document memorized by now, considering how many times I reference it. But, here, let's just see how the scroll wheel does. Alright, let's start with the table of contents. Oh, that's very responsive. Oh, I like it. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy, you guys. I'm so happy. Oops. I've been operating with a handicap for like a few weeks now. Now I'm like, no, I can even scroll up. I can review the oh, I'm so happy. It's the best day I've had in a while. What can I say? I'm blessed. There is a really weird thing happening with my operating system. Let me get rid of this window capture real quick. I'm very nervous. Even though I'm very pleased, I'm very nervous. There's like my taskbar, taskbar, start menu, the bar. It's a computer. I'm broadcasting from a computer. Anyways, every time I move the mouse or scroll the wheel, my taskbar flashes very quickly, like, and I'm thinking there might be a voltage problem. Maybe there's a crossed wire, because it's obvious whenever the power is being sent to the mouse, it's affecting the overall system. And that's making me very nervous. It's still doing that? It's not doing that now. Maybe I shouldn't be so nervous. You gotta have faith. No, I'm not gonna have faith. Son of a bitch. It's just a coincidence, right? It's probably glitching out because of the crappy Adobe programming in my reader software, right? Had nothing to do with my mouse, right? Oh, God. Well, you know what? It's been pretty fun, but I think I'm done talking about my mouse. I hope that was fun. Looks like we're about, what, 48 minutes? It took me 45 minutes to talk about a goddamn computer mouse? Jesus, I must be a very boring person. It's like I can talk at length about just about anything. Hey, check it out. This is the teeny tiny little screwdriver I was trying to tell you about. The little flathead that I made the groove. The slot in the freaking, the wheel. This is the little sucker. Isn't it adorable? It's so adorable. It looks like I could use it as jewelry. I could, like, hang it from my earring, and then I'd have, like, a little screwdriver earring. It's like so adorable. Alright. I want to play video games. Alright. I know I should probably go to the Zot the Avenger channel to do that, right? I do have a backwards hat on. I could probably get away with that. Yeah, alright. I feel like I neglect that channel too much, but really, if I'm not playing video games, and if I don't have a backwards cap on, it doesn't even make sense to be on a stream channel. So thanks for watching JJ Styles 0001 technical discussion on his cute little gamer mouse and his MacGyvering abilities. And if you're not totally tired of this human, you can check out the Zot the Avenger Rules channel here on Twitch. I'm gonna play a skateboard video game. I'm gonna skateboard in a video game. So if that's not enough to entice you, I don't know. I'll be probably in 15 minutes because I gotta do something about my lack of a beverage. Thanks for watching. And if you're chatting, thanks for chatting. I'm sorry I'm so dysfunctional. One of these days,